Good morning, Mount Vernon. This is a special emergency meeting of the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency for the city of Mount Vernon, called to order. It is now 11:53 a.m. on August 16th, 2024. Can we have a roll call?
Member Morton.
Present.
Member Vanderpool.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Present.
I believe the chairwoman is not available today. Also present is Robin Mack, myself, Darius Shafazada as counsel, and Julie Marshall from Harris Beach. I can't tell if anyone else is present.
And
yes.
Also there is a non-voting member, which is Chris McDonough, right? I think we should also note, I guess this meeting, one is to continue discussions about a emergency issue that came up at a previous meeting sometime last week. And so due to it being an emergency meeting, it is my understanding, Ms. Mack, that all members were notified
Yes.
of this meeting, and that this meeting also, I guess, the notice was posted
On the city's website, on the IDA website,
on the IDA website, which is part of the city.
which is
Right.
part of the city's website as well. Yep.
Okay. I am serving, I guess, this morning as the presider for the meeting, because I guess I'm the next ranking officer in absence of the chair, who is not available today. So having said so, the one item is to discuss the pending or proposed demolition of property that is located. We get several different addresses, but this says 217 South 4th Avenue, owned by the Mount Vernon IDA. So I'll let whoever's going to speak go.
Thank you, Comptroller Morton. I am Robin Mack.
For the purposes, I'm the chair, I'm the treasurer.
Thank you, Treasurer Morton. I am Robin Mack, Director of Business Development for the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency. For the purposes of this meeting, my hat remains the same. On or around Tuesday, August 6th, the property with the parcel address 217 South 4th Avenue, which is owned by the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency, suffered damage to the rear portion of the building, beginning at the roof and collapsed into the building itself, causing significant damage. We representatives of the city of Mount Vernon, that include the Mount Vernon Department of Public Works, the Mount Vernon Department of Buildings, the Fire Department of the city of Mount Vernon, and the Mount Vernon Office of Emergency Management, determined that the building should be cordoned off and appropriately secured for the safety of the residents and other stakeholders of the city of Mount Vernon who traverse along South 4th Avenue between West 3rd Street and West 4th Street, which is where the property is located. In the subsequent days, together with the Department of Public Works and the Department of Buildings, the IDA requested assessment of the building by licensed structural engineers, as well as licensed demolition companies, to provide the Industrial Development Agency with the appropriate information to make a determination on how best to proceed. This issue was initially raised in our regular meeting, which was scheduled on August 8th. So that was last Thursday, for which there was a continuation from that meeting for the IDA board to secure additional details about the structural integrity of that building and potential quotes from interested parties to perform the demolition. We came back together again that afternoon of Thursday, August 8th, 4:30 in the PM, for which we had not yet received structural integrity reports or quotes. However, we were given verbal advice from a structural engineer as well as from demolition companies on how we should proceed, we being the Industrial Development Agency. And it was at that time, based on the information available, the board of the Industrial Development Agency pre-authorized an amount of $150,000 to partially demolish the building after shoring it up. After returning to the site later on that day and into the following day, which was Friday, August 9th, it was additionally determined by structural engineers and the same demolition companies that there could potentially be asbestos within the construction materials or within the construction of the building. As such, the Industrial Development Agency requested an updated project scope that would include appropriate disposal of asbestos material, as well as air quality monitoring while the demolition was being performed. Additionally to that project scope, we asked for quotes for full demolition and partial demolition. In the subsequent days, the IDA received a full engineering report, which is before each of the board members. It's been provided digitally by email to those participating virtually. Myself and Heidi Mamak, who is the Deputy Commissioner of the Building Department, have that before us as well. In addition, board members and those who are participating virtually have quotes from the two demolition companies that responded to our request for an emergency quote. And so the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the contents of the quote, of each of the quotes in the project scope, and to respond to any questions that the board members may have based on the structural integrity report. With that, I will turn it back over to Treasurer Morton.
Okay, so I'm reading the structural engineers, I guess, report that I just received a few minutes ago. I don't see where he recommends that this building needs to be demolished. His recommendations here, unless I'm missing something, says that once the building is empty, I would offer that the building will need to be raised and substantially structural modifications and remedies will need to be made as the remaining structure has been substantially compromised. That being said, there is a two-story structure on the south end of the site, 225 South 4th Avenue, which is connected to building. Plans will need to be formulated, which addresses the north wall of that structure. If the option is to raise the subjected structure.
When the structural engineer was on the site, the situation was for the tenant to remove their equipment, their work-related vehicles. So we ask him to provide us recommendations to make sure that that will be done safely. How we can shore it up and what we can do to make sure that we are not gonna be liable for anything. So that his recommendation was focused on how to shore up the trusses, how to make sure that the structure is gonna be stable during the tenants removing their stuff. Later that day, we were informed that, and please correct me, Director Mack, that tenant costs will be covered by the insurance. That's why the shoring wasn't the part of the conversation anymore.
If we refer to page 2, under the header recommendations, beginning at paragraph 3, the structural engineer writes, once the trusses are braced as outlined above, demolition can begin at the north end of the building to remove the debris caused by a partial roof collapse. This work should be done from the vacant lot on the north end of the building. This will require the damaged vehicles and other vehicles in the lot to be cleared so that equipment can be placed at that end of the building. I'm not going to proceed reading the following paragraph, which is paragraph number 4, because that's quite lengthy, unless the board requests me to do so.
No, I mean, you don't need to. I read that. Again, nowhere in this document does it say that this building needs to be demolished. I hear everything that y'all are saying, and the issue at hand is that the last time we met, we asked very specifically, very pointedly, for there to be a structural engineer report to come back to tell us exactly what needs to happen with this building so that we are particularly covered by the fact that we are doing what we're doing. This report doesn't do that. Doesn't support that. I hear it, but at that point, then somebody should have gone back and said, now we need another report to tell us what it is that needs to be done.
I would suggest, I mean, from what I'm reading, first, I think we should have had our city engineer here to kind of interpret this, but we're not engineers. But I did look to the page 2, I read that paragraph, but the conclusion, the last paragraph with the treasurer read, Morton, was the engineer said, I would offer that the building will need to be raised or substantially structural modification and remedy will need to be made as the remaining structure has been subsequently compromised. I looked up raised because I'm saying, what does that mean? For in the engineering section, it needs to be demolished to the ground. So that's what I think. And that's why I suggested first that we would have probably been better for you to have
an expert.
Yeah, have Curtis, our city engineer here, because their definition is, we're not familiar with their definition. We're not PEs and engineers,
True.
you know. So if raised, it says to be demolished to the ground. That's what it.
So it gives an option of
Yes,
both.
both.
Okay. So it gives an option of both. So that's why, and that's the reason why we asked for the engineer to tell us, right, specifically what that actually meant, because we were hearing that before, right? Is that you could do a partial or
Full.
right, or full. And that's basically what he's saying here. He's saying the very same thing that we knew when we asked for him to come back to tell us exactly what it is, right? What I'm trying to figure out is what is the danger, right? To this report, right? If we substantially, substantial structure modification and remedy to the building, right? What's the benefit of that versus the benefit of demolishing it? I don't know.
And for my part also, I agree with everything that has been said here. But obviously, given the cost of this, we want to do the most fiscally responsible thing in this instance. And the fact that the conclusion in the last sentence is that he uses raised or a substantial structure modification remediations will need to be made. To the treasurer's point, we need to know the risk and the benefits so we can make an informed decision.
Okay.
Let's see, is the city engineer in the building? See, if so, I mean, I'm not trying to prolong this. I don't want to
Right.
try to create any further liability. I just want to make sure that we've crossed all our Ts and dotted all our Is.
Or even the structural engineer. Is the structural engineer available too to get on the phone?
That could be the
I think
next
so.
course event if he's not picking up.
Yeah, just,
Should have,
yeah, maybe just ask them if they could call down to Curtis's office, see if he's available.
Yeah, my only concern is that or substantial modification. I mean, you can tell from the pictures, this is the crazy situation. And so we can't really delay, but we just need that little piece plugged in.
Need the experts.
Yeah, just what the risk and the benefits are.
Happened on the north side.
Yeah. I didn't.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
You know,
What's so concerning is that it's wood,
that's what.
and it's wood, so it's really. This, this happened at night, right?
Night of August 6th, and we got the information from.
Thank
fire
God it didn't
department
happen in the daytime, where people were walking by and stuff,
Working inside of the structures.
all working and stuff. Funny how God does that sometimes.
Good afternoon. This is Darren Morton, the city controller for the city of Mount Vernon and the treasurer for the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency. Do you know if Mr. Mark Day is available? In regards to, he did a, I guess, an assessment for us related to a property that had a collapse and on the structure. And I'm in a meeting now where we're trying to make a determination on whether to demolish it or to basically do some support remediation to it, and just need to get his expert opinion. City of Mount Vernon, New York. Thank you.
the city's engineer is out of the office, returning on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport.
Hello, Mr. Day.
Yes,
Yes, this is Darren Morton. I'm the treasurer for the Mount Vernon Industrial Development Agency and the city's comptroller. We are in a IDA meeting right now discussing your report related to 217 South Fourth Avenue.
It's a public.
And what we're trying to, and we're in a public meeting in
That's
which
being
you
recorded.
are actually on, yes, which you are actually on speakerphone and being recorded, and the meeting is being recorded. So I want to make sure you know that, okay? So the clarification is that what we're trying to determine, because we have proposals here to kind of demolish the building. We have been having some conversations around partial demolition and then full demolition. I think we're at the place where it is being proposed to us that we should be considering a full demolition of the property itself. And I wanted to kind of get, and what we had required of them was just to get the structural engineer to tell us, the condition of the building and that this is, and what is the best course of action.
for the building of it. Out there, was a collapse on the north side, north end. And, nothing for it. Basically, worked by whatever vehicles were holding it up or concrete slab. So nothing to sure. That being said, I do state in my report that low trust is cross breed or breed with cross breed. Or the roof into stability to that structure. Wanted to remove the roof that is collapsed. One of the portions, one of the trusses has actually collapsed. The purlins one that was all cross bracing between those boat trusses, the remaining boat trusses, so that the work or material could be removed from that building, equipment, was the parts, stuff like that. Once you're done with that, I don't want to say it's a complete, notice period to take the rest of the building down and qualify that unless I get back in that building. And no lights the night that I was there. Take a closer look and give you a better understanding of once the material's out of the way. It's actually pretty cool. Better look and say, okay, now remove north end of the roof and it'd be rebuilt. Better if you want to do it.
Okay, all right, can you hold on one quick moment? It looks like the city engineer is calling in. Curtis?
Hey,
All right, Curtis, we're in the IDA meeting. You're on speakerphone. We are talking about the building on South Fourth Avenue.
Right.
You there? Okay, hold on a minute, because I got the structural engineer on the other line. Huh? All right, well, let me go back to him. I'll call you back if I need you later. All right? All right, bye. Okay, yes, sir. Mr. Day?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Day, I think I'm Brian Johnson. I'm a member of the IDA board. Wilson? Oh. I guess I have two questions. One, is the building in the immediate, danger of further collapse right now as we're speaking? And then two, do we have time for you to go back in the building and make a further assessment? Because even though you didn't immediately make a recommendation for a full demolition, it may make more sense if the repair work is gonna cost more than a total demolition, then we wanna know that as well, so we can make an informed
Right.
financial decision. So if you could address those two questions.
Honestly, I would, from what I saw when I was there, I could reasonably say that, yeah, I think any repair work would probably cost of raising the building. The question I have, and I did pose it in my letter, that building is connected to another building to the south, which is actually not kind of only when you take this building down, there would have to be a marriage wall constructed. The closure of that building. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if the next building down is that, but the letter. Well, I just want everybody to be clear what I meant was that building looks attached in some way. So that would have to be studied once you determine if the building is the option you want to take. But I would say to answer your question, it's more than likely going to cost you more to repair it. Wouldn't you raise it?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's good to know. Okay.
Is there any way we can get that included in the report? Or do you need to?
I could say that, sure. Other thing you gotta consider, there's a full basement under this thing. And full of parts, I believe, and maybe equipment. You can get too far in there because it was full of water or had water all over the floor. So in demoing the portion of this, I mean, we're gonna need to determine what you want to do as far as, you're gonna have a basement there that's gonna be open.
Okay.
So that's not gonna be a part of the removal cost, I guess, right? Cause I know, okay, all right.
Okay, you leave the basement there, is what you're
I'm
saying?
taking the basement out, but that's a separate, that wasn't for you, that's basically, what the quotes that we were getting. So, you don't feel a need to go back in there to make a determination that the cost will exceed? The cost of repair will exceed the cost of demolition? You're comfortable writing a report based on what you know today?
Yeah, I mean, I have photos, and I didn't really have light in there. We had like, black light this side. You're going down there, front daylight, you'll get more light in there. Photos I have, I mean, they're talking about a building that had to have been built 20s, 30s, certain. So it's, tell by, some of the stuff is rivets, some of it is square duct. You can modify the rivets are definitely 30s or 20s. So, it's all the structure. Wall that collapsed because the lower roof dropped off the one boat truss, rolled outward, and pushed Morrison and fell into the parking area towards the FedEx truck. So, I can tell right there that the building pretty have a hard time trying to do an interior skeleton or an exoskeleton.
All right, yeah, so if you can give us just the, I guess, an addendum to that, to the report you said, just adding those kind of qualifications in there. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Will do.
All right, thank you, Mr. James.
You all have a good day.
Bye-bye.
We don't really need current,
No, we don't need Curtis. No, we don't need Curtis now. I think the question now is because he brings in this thing about the basement and the other building. How does that factor into proposals and costs?
The other building was not factored into this quote. It would, but the quotes do factor into removing all the debris, including that which is in the basement.
Yeah, but we would need to know what the cost of, well, I don't even know if these would be the companies that would be responsible for putting the marriage wall up that he referred to. Do you know, Hyatt?
So we did something similar demolition recently, the big building in the corner. Yes, the same problem we had it over there.
With the church, right?
It was almost the attached building to the church. And the company who was doing the demolition, they had to do hand removal, hand demolition and hand removal for that side only. And that's also included in the proposal.
Okay.
Both included in this proposal?
Answer.
Yes, I can.
In both of them or just one of them? Because I'll be honest too. To your point, not knowing, this didn't look like apples and apples to me. these proposals, right?
We sent the same scope to both
I,
of them.
I know, but the way it came back, it didn't come back necessarily that. So I probably needed somebody internally to kind of make it apples and apples. I think Robin tried her best. But again, she's not the one. I would probably more expect that coming from building and the engineer to tell us so we can make sure we're making a decision that makes sense,
Mhm.
right, on this. So, okay, so I'll go back to my question. So both proposals include making sure that they take care of that other, the marriage wall, you say?
Hand demolition and hand removal, yes.
Okay,
And both of them deal with the legally required asbestos removal.
Okay, going back to asbestos, that's the most important part that I would like to explain. That we are not able to go into property and do the testing. Asbestos by law, the owner needs to hire the company who's gonna do the asbestos testing. In this case, IBA is the owner. They are supposed to hire the company
Third-party
to do
company.
the testing. However, we deem the property as unsafe and dangerous. We are not able to do testing. For those cases, we have to assume by law that there is an asbestos and we are gonna treat this property as being asbestos property.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right.
That's,
So we can't, we won't even consider anything that does not include asbestos.
yes.
Testing.
And so, the FPL alternate A and B, A doesn't include the asbestos, material. So we cannot
Right.
consider that proposal. B is not, considering the, frable, meaning that yes, we don't know because we are not able to test it. So I won't be able to say that if it's, what kind of asbestos material is there. All I have to do is, there is an asbestos.
Right.
So alternate B, also not an option
Right,
for us to review.
exactly.
so we're only looking at C
Right.
C and the other.
and the other proposal.
Other company.
Well, now when we get to capital, we have to make sure that their work, asbestos investigation will be conducted and sample findings to be provided to the owner. So that's what they say about asbestos. That doesn't say,
Capital?
I'm looking,
That's the other one. Capital too.
Capital.
oh, well, what is this on here?
No, you gotta look at, yeah, the capital didn't
Oh, this is.
they didn't break it out the same,
I'm going based against.
right,
Okay.
but what capital did is they took our project scope and quoted based on our project scope. Our project scope asks for,
So what this is the project scope. That's not the thing that was
So-
included in the proposal.
Oh, okay, no, hold on a second, I'm sorry. It does say, the last
Yes.
bullet point says,
For-
work will be performed as an asbestos project. The contractor will supply, which is probably the third party air monitor person during the site. Okay, so that does include that.
right. And so each of them have just different styles and how they responded to the quote.
Mhm.
FDL provided us different options.
Are we clear on
In
what
the
they're
same
doing with
way,
the
that says
basement?
it, yeah, they say, demolition ability as per the asbestos rules and regulations, contractor will provide air. They do the same thing.
So, did our spec, because I don't have it, did it include removal of the basement?
Well,
Capital.
removal of all debris. So, and that includes everything that's on site.
Basement will be removed, basement will be filled out with the concrete and whatever that they are demolishing, that will fill out the basement. And it should say,
But the
Yes.
items inside will be removed in order to then build.
Yeah.
our scope included that, capital is not including in their scope. If you're going to our scope that we sent to them, we said that all the vehicle equipment to be removed from the site. And what does FPL is saying that, let me just check it and I can read it to you. And,
But why is the city taking on that responsibility of removing the vehicles?
okay,
It's not our
FPL,
vehicles.
No, the city's not taking on that responsibility.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
I'm not clear.
FPL is saying that this is our scope and FPL agrees to it. This is what they are saying on their scope. The second page, line item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. FPL will demolish and remove the entire structure, all equipment and vehicles.
Yeah, we don't need them to do the removal. Isn't the business removing their own vehicles and doing that stuff?
Yes,
And their
however,
own vehicles?
and the business has removed a great deal of what they could. So there is 1 or 2 vehicles that are still in the building that are compromised by the collapse. And so at the point of demolition is where the demolition company will determine who will move and who will not.
Okay,
Right,
If it's safe or not for it to be.
right,
Correct.
depending on the safety.
Right,
of
correct.
it.
we're not sure what the floor.
Okay,
So does the building
I
department have a
should make sure
recommendation?
that I'm clear. Once this is demolished, the wall on the south has to be handled, will be handled to make sure that the other building is not affected, correct? The foundation, the basement, rather, now, right, that has filled with stuff. All of that debris will be removed by the contractor,
Yes.
Yeah.
by the contractor, both contractors.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then both contractors are then gonna put a cement to cover the basement, is that what you're saying? Because you said something about the basement not being removed, but being
Filled out.
filled out,
Yes,
and both would do that,
yes.
yeah,
and that's part of the proposal.
Yes, and
There's
that,
no additional cost,
no,
no,
no, right? What's those things we call them? Change orders.
No.
right,
They add on.
part of their quote,
yes,
Mhm.
and they also have to provide chain link fence
yes,
around the perimeter to secure the lot. So no one is gonna be able to go there, do anything until we know what the idea is gonna do with the lot.
I mean, after the building is.
After the building is
Correct.
being demolished, yes.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
sorry. One of them is also, FDL is even saying that after they do the demolish, clear the debris, filling up the, basement and putting the, fence, they are saying that they are gonna, put some grass, they are gonna do beautification before they move from the project. That's how they are saying that they are gonna leave it, and that was our scope.
Okay, the capital doesn't say that.
No,
no,
Okay, the capital is not doing that piece.
capital also doesn't mention the fence.
Right now, based upon the proposals between the two, then there is roughly about a 38. 38? 33. 35. 35, no, 30, 35, 40, huh?
it's about
40,
40, there's about 40,000
about a $43,000 difference
between the two, yeah.
between the two.
I know at the last special meeting, I know you said you were gonna reach out to the what are they?
FDL,
Right, to not reach out to them, but reach out to the city of New Rochelle, I think they did work there.
Darius was able to do so today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did we get any feedback what's there? But this is our first time using them, correct?
yes,
I think that if you're gonna ask for
That
that,
would be in the, special,
executive
Executive
session.
Okay. So, all right, so basically we have, from a monetary standpoint, a $43,000 difference, but in that difference, there is also the fence and the basic beautification,
Yes.
right?
yes,
You've got history with capital.
we do,
You don't have history with
FDL,
FDL,
we don't.
in doing
Well, they were
this.
formerly known as Queen City.
Correct.
And so the city has used them.
Has used Queen City.
Uh,
They have before, I wasn't part of that time frame.
Right.
But we have before, as a city, we have.
I mean, do you wanna have a conversation with Darius? We can make a motion to go into executive session.
Sure.
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss negotiation.
I said,
Probably moving second. Roll call?
Darius?
Julie? We're taking to go into a very brief executive session.
Yes, Dr. Morton.
Aye.
I
Um,
couldn't find the unmute button. Julie, go ahead.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Vanderpool?
Aye.
Okay, so we will now go into executive session at 12:34 PM.